Hey guys, welcome back to our new podcast. We're going to be talking about everything Timbers from here on out. Right now, we don't really have a name. We thought the Green and Gold podcast, maybe the Timbers Legion. So leave a comment down below what you think we should name it. It's up for interpretation. I'm John. I'm here with William. We do everything Timbers. So we both saw the game last weekend against Seattle. And, it's always great beating a team as bad and as hated as the Seattle Sounders. William, just give me your initial thoughts from the game. Obviously, Brian Fernandez with that brace was pretty spectacular.
Yeah, so watching the game in the first half, it wasn't as chippy as you normally see a Seattle Sounders-Portland Timbers rivalry. We had the early goal from Brian Fernandez, but it was pretty steady from then on. But then once we had the second half, and after those two goals, 50th and 51st, from Ruiz and Fernandez, then it started getting extremely chippy between Roldan and Blanco specifically.
And it seems like it's always those two. It seems like it's
we
always
saw that in
Christian and
2017.
Sebastian. Yeah, for some reason, Sebastian just gets under his skin all the time. It's kind of funny.
It's just a short guy. So yeah.
Sure, I think Brian Fernandez, yes, he's on a torrid scoring spree.
8 goals in the last 9
matches. 8 goals in the last 9 matches. And it's going to look to continue it tomorrow against the Galaxy team that, has Zlatan, and they just played in a tough El Trafico. Can I ask you a question regarding the game? Do you think, and I know he didn't have the best game, he's had some great saves and some great games. Do you think Steve Clark is the answer for the Timbers at goalkeeper? Or is Jeff Attinella?
In the games I've watched with Steve Clark, specifically the Rapids game and the Sounders game, he's played extremely well. I believe he's more of an athletic guy over at Jeff Attinella. He just makes more of the harder saves, but Attinella is just it's pretty similar. It's just, I think Steve Clark's a little more athletic.
It really comes full circle too, and Steve Clark's the one who has the blunder in the 2015 MLS Cup, which, to be honest, that game just in itself was really interesting because both our goals were kind of BS. Yeah. Remember that? Mm-hmm. But hey, we went against the Sounders. We haven't played many home games. I even think the best part about the game was it prevented the Sounders from winning and retaining the Cascadia Cup. Obviously, if you're watching this or listening to this, you're probably a Timbers fan. So you obviously know what the Cascadia Cup is, between Portland, Vancouver, and Seattle. The winner out of those 3 games, the 3-team series takes Cascadia Cup, which is totally fan-driven. So it's quite cool to have a Cascadia twist and flair to the league. It's kind of like our own special thing, but that was kind of a sense of pride to, go into CenturyLink Field and beat the Sounders in kind of a chippy way. The Sounders weren't too happy. And Brian Fernandez, his quote, did you see his quote? It was like, there's something beautiful about shutting up the home crowd. Mm-hmm. And he said he wasn't trying to mean it in any disrespectful way. He's just saying from purely soccer and athletic terms, it's just beautiful. Shut the opposing team up. And I couldn't agree with him more because, Sounders fans are all pumped. Ruiz rounds Steve Clark. It's 1-1. And just like that, Blanco plays Fernandez through and slides it under. Frick is the
Stephen Fry.
Incompetent Seattle keeper. Yes, Stephen Fry. But so that was kind of the recap. That's what we took away from the game. Also, right back, Maria. He is something. Everyone kind of misses Alvis Powell. But Maria cuts inside, whips one on his left, hits the bar, opens the scoring with Fernandez on the rebound. So if we can get more offensive production from him, and especially with a nice home slate of games coming up, I see us rising in the standings. Because currently we're at 9th, right? And, just looking at the table, do you think we could climb and get into the playoffs?
So I think yes, because right now I think we're one of the hottest teams in the league. We've got a huge slate of home games ahead of us after 2 straight up Minnesota United games on the road. Then I think we play somewhere between 5 and 6 straight home games. And we're only 4 points out of the playoffs, and we have 2 games in hand on that 7th spot. So with the way we're playing and the teams in front of us, I really don't see FC Dallas or Real Salt Lake keeping us out of the playoffs. So it's just a matter of, in my opinion, it's just a matter of how high can we climb. Because realistically, we could possibly get to a 4th or 3rd seed. Yeah. Because they're only 6 points ahead of us.
And the great thing is we have games in hand too, and a lot of those games will be at home. So games against Orlando City is discouraging when you tie 1-1 against a team you outshoot or they outshot by like 20 shots. And, we ended up getting the equalizer 3 Bobasay. But having games in hand, having home games coming up and not even arguably, but most likely the best venue and best atmosphere in the league, in my opinion. And obviously it's a little biased, but, I think I'm correct. Do you think the new playoff format, where it's the one leg, not the aggregate 2 legs, do you think that's causing teams, maybe like the Timbers, who, could be satisfied with a lower seed, kind of really push for a higher seed?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking about this earlier. That's kind of the only problem for us with that huge away stretch to start the season, because we start off super slow and we really have to work our way back up into a top 4 seed, because if you're not a top 4 seed, you're not getting a home game in the playoffs. So if it's going to be very hard to win an MLS Cup with 4 straight playoff games.
And it's been done before in other sports. It's doable, but I don't think that that it's the Timbers' best interest to play 4 straight road games. And plus, playing on the road in the MLS playoffs is much difficult than the regular season, obviously, because you can travel to like New England Revolution or Columbus Crew or an Eastern Conference team, and there's not many fans there, so it's not the best atmosphere. But you start traveling to LAFC, LA Galaxy, you go to even maybe in Frisco. I know we beat them in the past, but like those atmospheres, they ramp up as you keep going. And just speaking of the standings, we're not catching LAFC. They're on a tear. So, best case scenario, we meet them in the Western Conference Finals in LA, which, would be really difficult.
Beating them.
We're capable. We did that last year, too, especially with Sporting KC.
Yeah, we saw that with the U.S. Open Cup.
Blanco's goal. Just comment below if you were watching Blanco's goal, because that was something just absurd in the Sporting KC game. I think let's talk the game tomorrow. Play the number 2 seed, I believe, the Galaxy. And, they're coming off a tough El Tráfico. We will be missing Diego Chara. And, I saw the stat or something. It's like our win percentage just absolutely plummets without Chara, patrolling and shielding the back line. So that's kind of unfortunate. I believe the game is home.
It's a home game.
It's a home game against the Galaxy.
Of our season.
Yeah, only 6 games. So, we need to take advantage of our home games and our games in hand. And especially with a team that's above the table, we got to take advantage of a Galaxy team that, maybe have a little hangover after El Tráfico, after a big win.
Yeah. If we just stop Zlatan, in my opinion, we'll get the win.
Zlatan is a handful.
If they just did anything to stop him in El Tráfico, I think LAFC would have had a better chance to win, obviously.
You can't let him have a hattie.
But if the thing about Zlatan is he's such a big figure that I think he can start getting in your head mentally if he just starts, because he's a talker. So even before the game, he could get you a little psyched out, but hopefully with the home crowd behind us, I think we could come out with a win. If not, a draw wouldn't be a bad result against the second-best team in the West.
You just got to stop Zlatan. Yeah. He's got more than half of the Galaxy's goals. Mm-hmm. And if you can stop him and cut off his service, so look for Mabiala. Maybe Cascante will start or Tuiloma will start because he's good in the air. Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to see if we can limit Zlatan's touches, make him drop back into the midfield more. And going the other way, I know the Timbers over the last few years have kind of had their brand of soccer, which is like, counter with Valeri, Blanco, now even Fernandez, Andy Polo. But it'll be interesting to see who starts at holding mid for Chara, because the Galaxy have some quick players out wide and in the middle. They got their Cam, I think it's a 16-year-old, Alvarez.
They got Mark Anthony.
Yeah.
Wrong team.
Yeah, so... Wait, what'd you say?
It's a Mark Anthony K.
Oh, no, that's LAFC. Yeah. But, yeah. But that aside, I think that, if we're going to beat the Galaxy, it's going to be off the crowd, obviously. Home games give us a huge boost. It's like we have the best advantage in the league going at home, and we just got to limit Zlatan. Big name, what am I trying to say? Big game for anyone tomorrow? Fernandez keep his streak going? Valeri get on the score sheet? Blanco.
I think we see a big game from Steve Clark. He's been very good lately.
Shut down Zlatan?
I think he will. I could see him getting a clean sheet. If it's, I don't see them only scoring one. It's either going to be a high-scoring game or we're going to keep the clean sheet, because Steve Clark, he's a little bit inconsistent, you could say. Yeah. He's on a hot streak right now, but...
I think he's more talented than Attinella, but at times he can be a little bit, not reckless, just a little bit, like... less technically sound and like fundamentally sound. He's kind of like he's almost like a sweeper keeper, it feels like. But, he makes great saves. I'm not going to complain. So, that's the game tomorrow. Timbers obviously much better at home. They win more, draw more. They get points at home more on the road. Although, they haven't done terrible at home. I mean, on the road. So as the MLS schedule is rolling through, we're trying to make and gain some ground on these Western Conference teams ahead of us and get into a favorable position for the playoffs. We're also dealing with the United States Open Cup, U.S. Open Cup. We have made it deep into the competition, and we have Minnesota United on August 7th away. Now, you could say this is a good matchup. What do you think?
I think it's really weird just because 4 days before in the MLS season, August 4th, we play them at Allianz Field. And then
we go
4 days later,
again.
August 7th, we play at Allianz Field. So
might as well just stay there.
You could see maybe some teams shuffling the lineup in the first game if they care more about the U.S. Open Cup because it is the semifinals. Winner plays either Atlanta or Orlando. So you could see possibly a lineup switch in that game in the MLS, depending on how the Timbers, if they can win this game against the Galaxy. Because if they do, that could set them up for maybe a possible rest game if they care a lot about that U.S. Open Cup.
And I think you bring up a good point. It's interesting to see if the Timbers value, MLS playoffs, getting a good position, kind of stealing some games on the road, or if they value getting some more silverware and winning the U.S. Open Cup. Because, the semis, that's a big game. Minnesota United is the most talented team you could play, so that's an opportunity. But that's the wrinkle when you play them 2 times in 4 days. And this is where we're going to see the Timbers' depth if it's up to snuff. It'll be interesting to see if Steve Clark plays both. Attinella gets minutes. Is Attinella still hurt? I haven't heard anything from Attinella.
He's able to play.
Yeah, so maybe we'll rotate keepers. Maybe Fernandez gets a rest. Maybe Valeri rests. It's just interesting to see if Gio will be more likely to go full strength in the semi game or in the league game. My guess is he goes full strength for the semi game, for the semifinal. I think the Timbers are capable of winning at Minnesota without their full squad. I think they are. I don't think they will. I don't think it's like guaranteed, but it's possible. But they got to play Minnesota. Not only Minnesota twice in 4 days, but at Minnesota twice in 4 days. So you might as well just stay up there, to be honest. Up there in Minnesota, I don't really know.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll end up doing.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know much about Minnesota United. They got Darwin Quintero, who's very good player, and they've been growing and on the rise recently, especially in the power rankings. They've gone up a little bit. They used to be They used to be the old FC Cincinnati. But that's I just don't know. I think Gio rests the league game.
Yeah, because I think you still have, you have 10 home games following that U.S. Open Cup game. So you've got so much time to make up that ground if you draw or lose Minnesota United. So
I think the Timbers' game plan is to get a point maybe on the road in the league game and then win the U.S. Open Cup. And then I'm not sure when the final is if we win, but it's probably most likely against LAFC. Right.
The U.S. Open Cup?
Yeah.
No, it's against Atlanta or Orlando.
Atlanta or Orlando.
We beat LAFC.
That's what it was. We beat LAFC.
It's in the quarters.
Atlanta or Orlando. Well,
we
already saw what happened last year when we played in Atlanta for a cup.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I I think that Atlanta would be definitely the tougher matchup. But, we just drew Orlando at home, so you never know. But that's the U.S. Open Cup, so, Gio has some managing to do. He is our manager, but he really has to manage the squad well here, with the schedule is getting tight and compact. If we win against LA, are we above the red line? I think we are.
Let me fact check that. I'm not sure.
I think if we win... I'm not really sure what FC Dallas, or not FC Dallas.
It has to do with other results.
RSL is sitting on points-wise, but I believe that if we can... and it's a huge game because it's a home game against the number 2 team in the West, a chance to just get 3 points on them. We're only 9 points back.
We will be above the red line if Real Salt Lake draws or loses.
If RSL draws or loses.
And if Houston draws or loses. So,
yeah. Okay.
We still have a game in hand on both.
And
of
we
them.
still have a game in hand. So, and we got 2 on FC Dallas. So, if I'm going to predict where the Timbers finish, I'm going to say we finish 4.
Yeah, I could see
4
I
or
could see
3.
I think
Is 4
LAFC's a lock for 1, and I think
4 gets a home game, first game.
I
Yeah,
just
so
don't
you want a
think-
top 4.
The Timbers could go on a insanely hot streak, and they're only 11 points down from 2, so they're already going to make ground on that. If they win tomorrow night, probably tonight when you're seeing this, but I could see them making a run if they play their cards right with the home games and win, say, 8 out of the 10 home games. That's fair.
It's
7
pretty
out of
bold.
10.
I don't know.
7.
I mean, you got draws, too.
You don't gotta. I mean, the teams you're playing aren't really elite teams, but that doesn't matter. But I could see us getting. I think we'll get a first round home game, if anything.
Yeah, I think we will too. It would be pretty awesome if we got Seattle in the first round and got them at home. That'd be the marquee match for the first round. I think okay, we'll go with one more question regarding the squad. Do you think Brian Fernandez can keep up what he's been doing for the rest of the season, or you think this is kind of like a Valeri streak that happened?
Like a welcome to the MLS.
Not even that. I remember Valeri went on a streak of 8 straight games with a goal.
Yeah.
You think he'll keep it up? I mean, I'm not saying he's going to score every game, but do you think he's going to stay as? You think he can still make an impact when he's not scoring the ball?
Well, I don't think he's going to continue scoring every game, but
obviously,
I think he is the perfect striker to pair with Valeri and Blanco. So I think he does. He's going to keep the same impact because I don't see how he could just be so good at the beginning and then just lose it. But he won't be scoring every game anymore because teams are going to start to really just because now that we're starting to play teams for a second time when they have Brian Fernandez. So expect them to have a little more of a game plan against them.
And it really proves how good this guy is when you drop a Bobasi to the bench. Who was our starter last year? Gio
I
has
really
some
like
faith in
Bobasi.
But you got Bobasi now coming off the bench. You have Armenteros is gone. He had his little spell. I think our one point of kind of weakness is our defense.
Yeah.
I think Villafana. I know you weren't the biggest fan of him in his
he's grown
previous
he's grown on me.
Portland tenure, but I think he's a great left back. I think Maria has definitely improved. I think for the games I've seen him and the games he's played, he's been a really good player. Cascante, he's a little reckless, and Mabiala is a seasoned veteran.
I like Mabiala, but I think our biggest
And
weakness is
Tuiloma.
that second center back.
Yeah, I agree. And
Ever since we lost Ridgewell.
And it'll be interesting to see if Zlatan can expose this, and that's going to be the storyline for the game: is Steve Clark versus Zlatan, as well as Zlatan versus that back line. Steve Clark's gonna have to come up big. That's all we got for today. Again, please comment down below what you want this podcast to be named because we're open to ideas.
Make it creative.
Make it creative. Don't be like Timbers Podcast or Portland Timbers Pod or Timbers
Podcast
Podcast.
Timbers.
Just, find a creative name and we'll shout you out if we like it. How about that? That's all we got. I'm John. This is William. And come back next week for episode 2 where we will be discussing the Galaxy game that we will hopefully win because it's a big one. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.